Spooky. Hi my loves, welcome back and welcome to a brand new video. Welcome to another bookmas video, and today's video we're going to be doing the end of year book tag. So if you haven't watched it, I did do a mid-year book tag, and now we're about to end 2024, so now it's time to do the end of year book tag. I can't believe this year is already ending. It is madness. Christmas is in a few weeks, I have my trip in a few weeks, and life is going too fast for me to even count. And obviously with coming a new year and saying goodbye to 2024, we've also got to talk about the books that I both loved but didn't love in 2024, go over some of my surprising reads, most disappointing reads, my new favourite authors. So I have a list of questions here. So this has been taken from the book tag that Des did last year. Some of it's from Sarah's book tag that she did this year, and some from Larry as well on YouTube. So I just mixed it up. I took some ones out that I didn't think I was going to be able to answer, and we have quite a few to get through, so I'm super excited. I can't believe we're already on bookmas day 8 already. It's like flowing by so quickly. We have a few more videos to go until we end bookmas, and we're going to be preparing for 2025. And that just sounds so wild, but I'm going to stop talking now. We're going to get straight to it, and we're going to start the end of year book tag. So first up, question number 1, a book you wish you could erase your memory of and read again. So this one was actually very easy for me to pick, and that was no other than Fall With Me by Becca Mack. This book, I read it this year because it came out this year, and if you guys don't know, I love the Paying for Keep series, which this is a part of, and Fall With Me, I wish I could literally erase everything that I know of this book to reread it again. I'm definitely planning to do a reread of this because it was just so good. So if you guys don't know, this features Adam and Linon. So they have a one-night stand. Linon's supposed to actually be getting married, but she gets ditched by her boyfriend or fiance, so she ends up still going on her honeymoon. And Jackson is off, obviously, on this holiday, sleeping with girls. He's a playboy. He has no, like, worries really in his head, and he meets Linon. They start flirting, they have a one-night stand, and they don't see each other because they're expecting it to be a one-night stand. That's it. But it was quite like spicy, and they felt a connection, but obviously they were on holiday, it was a one-night stand, they didn't think anything of it until Jackson, they get a new, I think, photographer for their team. It's no other than Linon. She is a photographer, and she is now going to be working with him. So there's still the tension there. She's going through a lot with her family, he's going through a lot with him. However, the group of friends that you get from this series, they support each other so much, and that through this book, the reason why I loved it so much, and I wish I could erase the memory of it, is the found family aspect. Like, this book is literally found family to a T, and the way Becca Mack writes about this, like, these characters are always there for each other through the ups and downs. Even with Linon, like, she wasn't even friends with his group, but through him, like, they even supported her, and like, they wanted to be friends with her. Like, they weren't just being friendly with her because she was with him, they wanted to actually be friends with her, and they actually cared about her. And I just love this series. This book especially, it made me laugh, it made me cry, it has a nostalgia of seeing all the other characters, and I feel like they just get better with age and like each book. So this book is definitely the book that I would want to erase my memory of just to read it again, because I just loved it that much, and I can't wait for the next book in the series. It's gonna be so good. And then next up, we are going to be going on to favourite new character. So, you know, yes, we're going to be speaking about another book from the Paying for Keep series, because whilst Fall With Me is my favourite book, I would say, out of like all of them, in terms of like the found family aspect and the depth that we get, because obviously knowing all the characters from book 1 to book 4 now, I just feel like so connected to them. Like, I feel like I'm part of that friendship group. However, one of my favourite characters is in this book, and that is no other than Rosie. Rosie is one of the most kindest, gentle human beings in the world. Everything she goes through and everything that she does, she is a queen. She deserves the queen treatment. Adam gives her that, but Rosie as a character, I absolutely adored her. I loved how she uplifted people even when she was feeling down, how of a good mother she was. Like, she was a single mother, literally the definition of a single mother that works 2 jobs. Like, she did that and beyond whilst looking pretty. And also, she was gentle. She loved animals, working with animals, and like saving animals. And like, this girl, I just love her so much. She just like epitome of like someone that I would want to be a friend with. Like, if she was a real person, I know she would be a friend of mine, and I absolutely love her. I can't wait to see her again in the other books, and I love seeing her in Full With Me as well. Like, she's more in a relaxed state, because in this book, I'm not gonna lie, the girl went through so much, but with the next book, like, you get to see her in like a very happier state. And yeah, I just love this book so much. I love Rosie so much, and she's just one of those gentle, kind souls that don't change for anyone. So I just love that so much. And next up, we're going to talk about the most surprising books, good and bad. These are actually both from the same author. So in terms of bad, this book is a book that I did like, but I didn't love, and I thought I would love it based on the people that I follow and have a similar book taste to, but I just didn't love it as much as I think I should have. And also, in terms of the most popular book, like, I do find it a bit overrated, I'm not gonna lie, and that is no other than The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. So this one's basically like this girl, her grandma dies? No, her aunt dies, and she moves into her aunt's apartment. Wakes up one night and this guy here, and she's like, what is he doing here? And she basically finds out he's 7 years in the past, and obviously this like apartment for some reason ends up going to the past. So every time like she goes there, like it goes to the past, she's living there, but like one day she'll leave and come back and he wouldn't be there, and through that she like builds this connection with this guy that is 7 years in the past, and also dealing with the death of her aunt, someone that was very, very close to her. Whilst I could relate to the feelings of like, I love my aunt's my best friend, and I could really relate to that, and like me losing her would be like the worst thing in my life, but I just couldn't, I don't know, I felt it was very slow, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really feel the connection between two characters as much as I should have, and I think for most surprising, it didn't surprise me in a good way. Like, it surprised me more of a negative way, and yeah, it was quite surprising to me that people loved it so much. But obviously everyone has different views, but I did rate it still like a 4 stars, but definitely wouldn't say it's my favourite book and the most surprising, because I was expecting it to be like one of my favourites, but it just wasn't that for me. And next up, in terms of a good surprise, we have Another Love Story. This one was the one that's opposite. People didn't really rave about this book when it came out this year. Everyone said, oh, I don't like the 7 Year Slip, like I wish 7 Year Slip is just so much better. This book right here is my girl book for a book lover. Like, if you're a book lover and you want a book that sums up your love for books, this one right here. And it's just a fun book. This book is so fun to read. It's about a girl that she's quite sad. She's supposed to be going to this like cabin with her friend that she usually does, but her friend bails, and she ends up getting lost, and she ends up staying in this town, not thinking anything of it, until one morning she wakes up and she's like, what is going on here? And little does she know, she's actually in the town filled with her favourite characters from her favourite series from an author that died, and there's like a mystery of this guy that she can't place because he's not any of the characters from her books, and she's wondering if that guy is a character from the final book that the author was writing before she died. So this book was just so good. The plot is so fun, and also this book is about self-discovery and finding out about who you are and what you want to do. So I really enjoyed that, and it definitely surprised me because I thought I wasn't gonna like it, because 7 Year Slip was a bit iffy for me, and then I was scared that I would like that because everyone said they didn't like that one, and if everyone liked the 7 Year Slip and I didn't really like that as much, then like how would I like the Another Love Story if no one liked that? However, just because someone doesn't like it doesn't mean you won't like it. So I still gave it a chance, and it was still a book that I was very intrigued by, and I'm happy I read it because it was so good. So next up, we're gonna go on to the most disappointing and best new release of 2024. So let's start off on a good, shall we? So the best book that I've read in 2024 of a new release is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. I read Before You Let Go in the same year, I think just before this one came out, and I read this one just after. And guys, this book, again, another book about self-discovery, finding out who you are, healing, doing what you want to do. And especially what I love about these books, and this one especially, is the rawness of it and the self-love that Kennedy Ryan puts into her characters. Like, this Soledad has been through hell and back, like literally hell and back. She's a single mother, and she's going through a very tough thing at the moment. She meets this guy and he's kind of involved with that. But what I loved about this book is not necessarily for the romance, but for the self-discovery, the self-love for both her, for black women, and it made me feel loved as well reading this. And from reading this as well, it's made me want to read this book that I wish I had got and read this year, which is a little bit later. But this book was just so raw, so beautiful. It's about self-love, self-discovery, finding out who you are. And yeah, Soledad and Judah, like, he was a godsend. I loved him. Like, he was a perfect gentleman. He let her go on her journey because he knew that she needed that. Like, he knew that she needed to go on a journey. Like, and this book definition is literally like, you can't love others, or you can't expect others to love you if you don't love yourself. And like, she only didn't just like learn to love herself through him and her daughters and that, but she learned to love herself like through herself, like doing things by herself. And like, she was epitome of solo days. Like, most people don't like insta love. Like, I don't really like insta love, but I really enjoyed it in this. Like, she becomes like a content creator, and I think that was a part of her whole self journey. And I feel like doing content creation is actually a very positive thing, and seeing that in books as well is something that I can really relate to, because obviously I do YouTube and I feel like at times it can be hard, but I really discovered who I am and who I like to be, and like self-love, because you're staring at a camera every single day editing my voice. Like, I used to hate my voice. I think it used to be very high pitched. Now I'm actually in love with my voice. Like, I watch my videos like non-stop. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm a biggest fan, when in the past I couldn't do that, and this book really just like really connected that to me and really made me think about that even more on a deeper level. So I loved it, and definitely one of my favorites of 2024. Now we're going to talk about the most disappointing new release of 2024, and that for me would be Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. This book was good. Like, I did enjoy it when I read it. However, I just felt it was way too long for a romance, and one that really just didn't move. I feel like it could have been like maybe 300 pages long. I think it was like 500 something, and I think it was just too long to get to the point. The characters and the tension between the two characters, I felt it, but not as much as, like, it wasn't making me gasp. I wasn't like gasping for the attention like I did in the Dreamland Millionaire series. Like, that series just like owns my heart. Lauren Asher is still someone that I'm really enjoying. Like, this year I read Dirty Air series by her, really enjoyed that, but I just felt like this book was just really slow, and I was really anticipating it being a really high read for me, because this was a single dad nanny romance, and I really do enjoy those, but it just felt a little bit flat for me when it came to the romance, and a lot of it could have been condensed down to make it like 300 pages. I think if it was around 300 pages, I would have definitely given it a higher rating. I think I gave it 4 stars. I would have given it maybe a 4.5, 4.75 if it was a bit shorter. So I think that would probably be my most disappointing one. That one I completely forgot to take off my bookshelf. That is why I don't have it in my hand. And then next we're going to talk about my longest and shortest book that I read in 2024. So the longest book I read was A Court of Silver Flames, which was 751 pages, and then the shortest book was Christmas Cupid by Issa Madden Mills, which is 170 pages long. So quite a big distance, basically nearly 600 pages difference between the two of them. I can't even comprehend that I read a book that was over 500 pages long, and that was a 5-star read, so that's a bit mental for me. And then next up, we're going to go on to the most emotional book. So this one's actually a book that came very later down the line of 2024, and that is no other than Powerful by Lauren Roberts. If you guys go and watch the bookmas where we use a random number generator, I read this book. This is the second book in the Powerless series. I don't know. I think this is actually a novella. It's not actually like a second book, but it's like 1.5. And this book follows Indina, which is a character in the first book. And if you read the first book, this book, you know what happens and what this premise is of, and you know about the character, so we get to see more of her story. And yeah, this book, devastating, to say the least. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to spoil anything, but this book made me ugly cry, and when a book makes me ugly cry, you know it is for real. This book is what could have been. I'm even sad to say that. Nadina is definitely a character that I love so much, and this book, despite the size of it, it's like not very long at all. Definitely, I would say, is the most emotional book in terms of like that made me physically cry. I think the most emotional book that I would also say in terms of just like the emotion and the rawness of it would be Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This book is about a couple that was together, they got divorced, they have children, and a very traumatic part of their life has happened, and they're kind of dealing with that. I think it's actually been a few years, but they're dealing with that and a loss. And let's just say this book, the emotional, I just felt everything Yasmin was feeling, like everything she was going through. Like I felt that in the deep of my soul, especially with Josiah as well. Like he was a character at first, I was like, I don't like you, but when you find out more and more on his side and everything that's happened, you just like no one's to blame. Like this book is just beautiful, it's emotional, it is raw, it is realistic, and it's amazing. So if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend. Like Kennedy Ryan has definitely become one of my favourite authors, and I'm so happy that I discovered her and that I've read her books. I'm excited for some of the new books I have, and also the new release of obviously the Skyland Sister series. So yeah, really fun book. And then next book, we're gonna have to go on to the Happiest book. So obviously we had books that make you emotional, that make you sad, but there's also books that make you so happy. And one book that made me so happy is Powerless by Elsie Silver. People will be thinking that's quite random. I found this so happy because this is a best friends romance, so the best friends to lovers, and they deserved each other. Like the little road trips when they're like together, all the tension, spice. Like reading this book, I felt so giddy, very happy. Just the whole Chestnut Spring series, I feel like they have the emotional element, but not too like serious, and they're quite light-hearted, really fast paced, and like the found family aspects as well. Really fun. I think this is a series that makes me laugh the most. The Chestnut Spring series, and Fairy Loot are having, you know, a special sale, so I might be getting some special editions of these soon. And yeah, I'm really excited to read more of Elsie Silver, especially the newest series. I read the first 2 books in that, but Powerless definitely takes the cake for one of the books that made me really happy when I read it in 2024. So yeah, I'm really happy. Again, Elsie Silver is another author that I discovered back end of last year and mostly this year that I really enjoyed. I think I read probably about 5 books from her from this year. So yeah, definitely an author that's really one to read. Cowboy romances and loads of different tropes that she just like pulls off so well. Like it's just chef's kiss. Then next up, we're going to go on to the best series that I read in 2024, and that is no other than the Skyland Sister series. I actually have 2, but this is the first one. This series, I can't get enough. I feel like I mentioned it like multiple times in this video, these books, but this series right here, this series just takes a cake. Like this 4.75, this 5 stars. The next book, probably potentially a 5 stars too. I just love black women getting the love they deserve, and Kennedy Ryan, she does it amazing. She is one of those authors that I look up to massively, and this series just takes the cake. Like it just takes the cake. But then also another series which is my ultimate favourite is the Pay for Keep series. So we only have the first 2 here, but there's 2 more books which are the first 2 books, and these 2 I think were definitely my favourite in this series, and these 2 both came out this year. And this series as a whole, I love it. I've given literally all of them 5 stars. I've literally given the series 5 stars. I think it's the most underrated series, so if you haven't read it, go and read it. These 2 especially are so good. The covers are so pretty as well. Becca Mack, she's one of the most... She knows how to write books. Like, she knows how to say spicy, filthy, loving, funny. Like, she has all the elements. She knows how to do the elements really well in ways that I find that, like, not cringy at all. And yeah, just really fun. So, fun, raw, realistic, and a little bit of fan family, or a great big deal of fan family. So if you like fan family, definitely recommend this series. This series is my favourite, and these 2 series are my babies. Like, as you can see, they're my babies. And the colours as well are so beautiful. The covers as well are some of the most beautiful covers. Like, I love the aesthetics of these covers and the colours, but like, look how beautiful these ones are. We'll go in more detail a bit later on. Now we're going to go on to the prettiest cover, which is actually sooner than later than I mentioned. So first up, we have these 2 books. Like, I don't usually like people on the cover, and these 2 though, beautiful. Like, strong black woman. She's feeling the world. She is feeling everything. Like, when I read this book and I look at the cover, this cover represents how I feel, how strong Yasmin is, and like, she's literally how I imagine her as well. And then also this one, like, look how beautiful, with like the flowers, the butterfly, learning to like spread your wings, discover yourself, blossoming. These covers are so pretty. And also another cover that I think is really pretty is A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Gardner. This, like, I just find this so pretty. Like, the glass kind of, the steel glass window feature and also the back as well. I actually have some special editions coming, which I'm excited to show you guys, but the sleeves for this, I find them really, really pretty. Like the flowers, the stained glass window, and also like the gold writing. Yeah, the gold writing is just beautiful, and I just find it so pretty. And then next up we have a book that I had the most, like the quotes that I loved so much, like I probably highlighted so much, and that is Another Love Story. Obviously you mentioned it as a book that surprised me the most, but I also mentioned the quotes. The quotes in this book, like let me just find you one. Sometimes a book can change your life. It's hard to explain that to someone who doesn't read, who has never felt their heart bend so strongly toward a story that it might snap just in two. Books are a comfort, some are a prize, others a vacation, a lesson, a heartbreak. I've met countless stories by the time I read a book that changed my life. The way she talks about books in this, like, it's just so pretty. Sometimes people come into your life for brief moments and change you forever. I think he was my person and he didn't even exist. That's all I'm saying on that one, because that alone, that, like, I think anyone that reads romance books and romanticizes them can relate to that right there. Quotes definitely popping in that one. And then next up we have favourite new author, and that is no other than Kennedy Ryan. This queen, she takes the cake. This author, chef's kiss. If you haven't read anything from Kennedy Ryan, go and read her books. I'm really excited for the Hoop series, which is a series I think she did before this one, and I have all 3 books, so I'm definitely reading that. But Kennedy Ryan, the way she writes, so beautiful. You can really connect with the characters and feel so much empathy for them. And yeah, I just love her. I love her books. Like, I feel like they're the perfect length as well. They're not too long, they get to the point, but they also have the depth that you love that makes them so raw and so realistic. Like, not many people can do that, and she does that extremely well. And yeah, she's definitely become one of my favourite authors that I've discovered in 2024, and I can't wait to read more of her books, because her books are just, they're amazing, they're beautiful. And Kennedy Ryan, thank you for writing books about black girls being loved, but also adding the challenges that black women face, and her books are just beautiful. So now we're going to go on to books I finally read and enjoyed. And again, we're mentioning the book that I think I've mentioned about 6 times at the point, and that is Before I Let Go. This is a book that I heard from last year. This book actually came out in 2022. I only read it in 2024. Yeah, I know, but I finally read it, and you guys know how much I enjoyed this book. I don't think I need to go over and over about it again, but this book, definitely a book that I was like, girl, why have you been putting off reading? Like, this was a book that I put off so much reading. Like, if you guys saw, like, it was basically in every TBR video leading up to now, and I read it finally a few months ago after putting it off for so long. It's one of the best things I've ever read, and that just really goes to show, if you have a book on your TBR or in the physical form or online that you wanted to get, do it, because you never know. It could be a 5-star, it could be a 4.5, it could be a 4.75, and this book has led me down to a series that ended up being one of the books being 5 stars, and I can't wait for the next book. So definitely a book that I'm happy that I finally read in 2024. And then the second book is Better Than the Movies. I've heard so much about this book, and I finally read it this year. I think this actually came out last year, I believe, and I'm happy I did. I really loved this book. Like, I used to think that I could never mesh well with a YA story. I couldn't relate to the characters being an adult. However, this one reminds me a little bit about how I was when I was younger. Like, I used to be obsessed with books and reading and movies. Like, I used to be obsessed with all of those 3, especially movies and music, and I could really relate to Liz, and she goes through quite a devastating thing in this first book, and Wes is someone that she's always known. They pretend to fake date, and obviously real feelings come about, and this book is definitely a book that I'm so happy that I read. I read the second book, which is Nothing Like the Movies, that absolutely obsessed with as well, and yeah, I love this book. Definitely one of my favourite YAs to exist, and I'm so happy that I finally read it this year, because I felt like it was a long time coming, I feel. And yeah, I'm just so happy that I read that. Next up we have a book or books that should be made into a TV show and movie. So following on from that, I think Better Than the Movies, this would be the most perfect movie. This book reminds me a lot of The Duff, which is one of my favourite movies ever, but I feel like the uniqueness of like the music and like the movie quotes, I think that would be iconic. Like, I think that would be iconic, especially if like, I thought like this book would have like, it shows you like different famous like scenes, and it shows you like them doing it. I thought you would actually see that in the book, which you don't. And yeah, I just love this book. I think this would be a great TV show, probably more so a movie than a TV show, but I think it would just be such a cute little funny little rom-com to watch. And yeah, I wish there was more of those types of like movies. I feel like they're quite cheesy, but if you can do them well, they can turn out like The Duff, which is like really, really fun, and it's one of my comfort movies. And then another book that I would definitely say would be really good as either a TV show or movie, but also a movie just because of how fast paced it is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kilowatt. This book, spooky. Our movie would just hit. You're in your house with your partner, next minute you get a knock at your door of a family, and this guy saying he used to live here asking for a tour. Red flags everywhere, literally. And I feel like this would be the most spookiest like movie to exist. And I know there's loads of movies like this, but I feel like it's quite a unique plot line. Next up, we have A Book You Wish You Had Got This Year, and for me that is All About Us by Bell Hooks. That is actually a non-fiction book by Bell Hooks. It's about love. It talks about love, friendships, girlhood, romantic relationships, family, and it's all about love. And I especially wish I read this one and got it, because this book is mentioned so many times in This Could Be Us. Like, it is mentioned so many times, and I think this book is definitely a very crucial book for not just like women, but especially black women, about love, because Bell Hooks is a black author as well, a black writer, and I used to read a few of her books when I was at uni, so I wish I had bought this one to read it, because I feel like I would have connected with This Could Be Us on a deeper level as well. But it's definitely motivated me to get it and read it, because I loved reading it and seeing all the different quotes and how the quotes and the stuff that was taken from All About Love and put into This Could Be Us, like what stuff she used, and actually her name is in it, Soledad's name's in it. So yeah, I'm really excited to read it next year. I'm definitely going to be picking it up, and it's definitely a book that I wish I did pick up this year, because my non-fiction TBR just went down the drain. But I'm going to be going back to non-fiction next year, because before I started reading fiction, I used to be a non-fiction girl. Like, you wouldn't believe it, I used to be a non-fiction girl. I did sociology at university. I loved reading non-fiction books, bibliographies, sociological books, self-help books, and I definitely want to go back to that. So we're going to be doing more of that in 2025. And then next up, we have the best book adaptation of the year. For me, that is Wicked. This was hard for me to pick, really, but Wicked stole the cake. If you guys didn't know, Wicked is actually a play. However, it all originated from a book, and I wish that I had read this book, but Wicked is one of my favourite theatre productions, and the movie just did everything it needed to do. Ariana, Cynthia, they put the icing on the cake with this one. Like, they did everything, they gave everything, they did above and beyond. And this book adaptation that has been made into a play and then now a movie, chef's kiss. Even the theatre production of it is chef's kiss. So I am really, really, really excited to part 2, and I'm sad that I have to wait until part 2. And it was just so magical, and it made me feel so young, and I am young, but it made me feel so young and like childlike, because I watched Wicked for the first time when I was about 10 or 11, and as an adult now can really resonate with the story of Wicked as well. So really happy that that came out this year and I watched it, because it was amazing. So now we're going to talk about the lowest and the highest rated on my Goodreads. So I didn't even check this, so we're going to go to my Goodreads right now. Right, so in terms of the lowest rated on my TBR, I've put Malibu Rising and The Other Black Girl. I just couldn't get into either of these books. I ended up DNFing both of them, and they both received a 1 star. And then my highest rated book of 2024 was Hot House Flower, but we also had a few others. We had Hot House Flower, we had A Court of Silver Flames, we had Restore Me, we had The Worst Best Man, we had Better Than the Movies, Nothing Like the Movies. What else from 2024? We had obviously Unravel Me, we had Fall With Me, This Could Be Us. I think we had quite a few high raters on my Goodreads, so really happy I read those up. all in all, I did have a really good reading year. In total, so far, I have read 112 books. So I'm doing very well because my target was only 100 books. So definitely a good reading year for me. I'm really happy about that. And then next up, we have a new comfort book. So for me, my new comfort book is Unravel Me. I read this pretty much in March, I think, and we're December, and I still talk about this book. I still think about this book, and this book is definitely going to be a book that I reread every year. It's a comfort book. In terms of a new annual reread, it will be this and the whole Playing for Keeps series, because I love it that much. I've already started my reread of Consider Me, which is the first book, and this one is definitely a comfort book. It's just everything. The relationship, the dogs, the little boy, like Connor, a little baby Connor. And the family, like, I just love all the girls, all the guys, all the little scenes. I just love all the characters in this book. It's just a comfort book for me. And Adam and Rosie, they really take the cake. Probably definitely one of my favourite book couples to exist, and my favourite book couple to come out of 2024. Now we're going to go on to our last question, which is a book you're excited to read next year. So I put new or on your existing TBR. So for me, I have only a few that I decided to add, because obviously I have a video that just came out of new releases, so go watch that if you want to see. But a few to just count. In terms of new releases, we have Breathe with Me by Becca Mack, we have Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, and we have The King of Envy by Anna Hugh. And then last but not least, we have Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan, which is the last book in the Skyline Sister series. And then books that are already on my TBR that I want to read, the Throne of Glass series. I didn't get to read it this year. I did start a video, but I didn't actually read the first book yet, so I want to definitely start that next year. The Hoop series by Kennedy Ryan, because I have that already on my TBR. More of Lynn Painter's books, because I have it The Do-Over. I have, is it The Breakup Pact? I can't remember, but definitely more of her books, because I love Better Than the Movies, and I want to read more YA books. And yeah, that is it. Those are all the books that hopefully I'll read next year and that I'm the most excited about. Obviously, there's going to be new books I discover, new authors, new comfort berries, new besties, and I can't wait to discover new genres, reading some more non-fiction books, because I didn't read one non-fiction, I believe, or maybe one I read. And yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this end of year book tag. I will link the questions down below, so if any of you guys want to answer some of those, definitely do, because I want to know what your favourite books were, what your most disappointing reads were, your new favourite authors. So if they're different to mine, I can go and find them and read them, because I like to discover new authors, and I can't wait to see what 2025 brings us in terms of reading. Look forward to a tier ranking video once I finish my reads, where we're going to talk about every single book we read this year and tier ranking them, which is gonna be a fun video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys are enjoying Bookmas so far. I'm really enjoying it. I feel like this year I've been so organized, and on top of it, I'm really loving my thumbnails, to the videos, to the editing process, to the filming process, and I'm having a really fun time. My next video is going to be another vlog, which is really fun. I find it really fun. We're going to be out with a little bestie of ours that also does YouTube. So yeah, really fun year of reading. I'll bring on 2025 of reading. That is it for today's video. I will see you guys all in Bookmas Day 9. Stay blessed, everyone, and as I always say, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, my love.